Warren Berger is a speaker and author specializing in questioning innovation, creativity, design, the media, advertising, and general business. He's the author of 5 books. It's six now, isn't it, Warren?
Just released a sixth.
The 5 books I have listed here, and you can tell me about the six, is uh, the Book of Beautiful Questions, powerful questions that will help you decide, create, connect, and lead, and the best-selling A More Beautiful Question, The Power of Inquiry to Spark Breakthrough Ideas. And that original book is the one that got me hooked into you. I think I saw an interview with you in Fast
Right.
Company or something like that, and I was like, I totally got to
Yeah.
get to know this guy, and we've done webcasts and podcasts together and stuff like that. So good to see you. I hope you're holding up well. You're just down the road in Mount
Yeah,
Kisco.
I'm in Mount Kisco, New York, and I'm pretty much, I'm sort of a homebody to begin with, a lot I think a lot of writers are.
Right.
So this period has not been as big a shock to my schedule or my work
Hmm.
as it is for so many people.
Right.
But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm actually trying to use the time to get some things done and you know uh, do a little more questioning.
Great. No, that's great. And thank you for taking the time out
Sure.
from that work to talk to me here. Now, lately, there seems to be a lot of emotion surrounding the questions many people are asking right
Yeah.
now. Some
Right.
of them are related to cause, some are related to
Hmm.
blame.
Yeah.
Do you see that as well? And are these legitimate questions?
Well, I like to think that it's okay to question almost everything. You do have to do it respectfully. And I think one of the things that we're seeing now is kind of a tension between respect for expertise and authority and science, and people's feeling that they have their own thoughts or their own way of going about their lives and their own priorities, and so they are questioning sometimes the what is coming from experts in
Hmm.
terms of saying, well, that's not the way I want to proceed or the
Hmm.
way I want to deal with this.
Right.
So I think that tension is what we're seeing right now, and I think it's very natural, particularly in the U.S. I think we're a country of very independent-minded people,
Hmm.
and I think it would be totally predictable that we
Sure.
would not follow lockstep
Sure.
in some type of a community effort
Sure.
to do something. So I think we're resolving that. We're dealing with that now, and I think hopefully people will try to keep that balance.
Hmm.
Understand that yeah, it's okay for me to question, and it's okay for me to assert some of my ideas, but I have to have respect for the science,
Sure.
the people who've studied these things, the people who see what's going on in the past and what's going on in the world, and I have to pay attention to that.
What role can questions play and in helping us not just survive but thrive as we move through this?
Well, I think of questioning as a tool, right? It's sort of like it's almost like an app, right? And it's one we were born with. I mean, we come out as kids asking a lot of questions. And if you were to try to figure out what does this app do,
Hmm.
what is its function? The thing that questioning does is it helps us make sense. It helps us understand, and it helps us learn. So it's sort of our tool for dealing with the unknown.
Hmm.
Now, think about where we are right now. We're in a time of just extreme unknown,
Hmm.
extreme uncertainty. And so that in a way, this is a better time for questioning than ever, because if we can use that tool we have of just being comfortable asking, okay, what does this really mean, and what are the long-term ramifications, and uh, if we can ask those kinds of questions calmly
Hmm.
without a sort of panic behind them, like, oh, what am I going to do?
Hmm.
But more like, okay, let's think about this. What does it mean? How should I react?
Hmm.
What are the positives? What are the negatives?
Hmm.
How can I maybe see some possible opportunities within this really difficult time?
Sure.
Admittedly, it's difficult and it's bad, but there may be silver linings in there or things that you can do. So So I think if we can use questioning in that way,
Hmm.
in that kind of a positive way,
Hmm.
it could be really valuable in this time.
Sure.
I think questioning can really help us deal with change.
Hmm.
It can help us deal with adversity because it just sort of, it's a way to sort of force yourself to sort of calm down,
Hmm.
use your logic, use your reason, and try to find solutions.
Hmm. Now, you had mentioned earlier in that answer this whole issue of we arrive as children and we're naturally curious. Now, your last book is specifically related to questions. I believe it's classroom or school related, but it's
Yeah, that's
primarily
my
folk.
new.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my newest book is what I did was, I was writing a lot about questioning first in the business world,
Hmm.
and how it's so important for businesses to be asking questions all the time because they,
Hmm.
they need to adapt to change,
Sure.
and they need to innovate, and they need to, move forward. And questioning helps you do that by
Sure.
constantly questioning your assumptions,
Sure.
your habits, the things you're taking for granted.
Sure.
So I wrote a lot about business initially. Then I sort of transitioned to writing more about coaching in a larger sense for people, using questioning to coach others, or
Sure.
using questioning to improve their relationships.
Sure.
Now, the latest book is sort of taking all of this into the classroom
Hmm.
and saying, what if we could somehow encourage students in the classroom to ask more questions?
Hmm.
What are some of the ways we could do that? Why would we want to do that in the
Sure.
first place? Why is it important for students to be asking questions?
Hmm.
So that is where I'm kind of focused on with that book.
Now, just to wrap up, I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody,
Yeah.
and interested in your kind of quick response to it. Warren, what lessons are we learning right now that we must not forget?
I think we're learning the lesson that science matters. And, we sometimes forget about that. We're learning that expertise matters, you know. And it's interesting, Dave, because, we've gone through a period of innovation,
Hmm.
Silicon Valley explosion of innovation, where expertise got a little bit devalued
Hmm.
because people were, entrepreneurs tend to say, well, what do the experts know?
Hmm.
They're locked in the old
Hmm.
mindset, and I'm bringing a new way of thinking. So in some ways, I think we might have gotten a little out of balance with that,
Hmm.
and I was probably part of that because I
Hmm.
was out there saying question everything and
Sure.
question the experts and question the. And I think what this situation is reminding us is that there is always a balance,
Sure.
and you have to pay attention
Hmm.
to the body of knowledge that exists and the experts, as well as bring your own original ideas into it. So I hope that's something that will come out of this situation.
That's fantastic. It's so good to see you again, and I hope we
It's
get it.
great to see you too.
And I hope we get a chance to reconnect again, and maybe we could loop back and discuss this other
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Let me know what if you're doing more of these or whatever. Just keep me in mind for any type of video projects you're doing. I love doing this stuff.